Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Trifecta podcast. I'm Lee, aka Regicidal, and I'm here with the other two co-hosts, Jordan and Alex.
Hey, what's up, YouTube?
Hey.
And today we have many topics to talk about. We've got first the Crucible, then we're going to move on to the Combat Rework, or the OG blog that they released recently, and then we were going to talk about the Twitter responses, and then the topic of the week, of course. So let's first start with the Crucible. Now, the Crucible is an update which is pretty much like bringing back Bounty Hunter, and they just released it on Tuesday, and we're going to give you some feedback on it. And Jordan, take it over.
Alright, well, the Crucible is definitely a big makeover from the old Bounty Hunter. In my personal opinion, I wasn't a big fan of it, not just because I wasn't a PKer, it was because when you go in, and once you get in there, you can do all your little roaming around and everything, but you get paired up with somebody, and you have to kill them, or you leave. And I wasn't a big fan of you have to pay 50k to get in, and stuff like that. And also, I did not like the idea that most of the time I'm getting paired up with a guy in Gano, Steel Titan, and he just destroys me.
Right.
And it felt like I was being overpowered. I didn't have choice, and like I said, I'm not a PKer, so I'm not like pro clicking and stuff like that, like Bonesaw, whatever the freak his name is. But I don't know. I just felt kind of overwhelmed with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my opinion.
Okay, and like Jordan said, you do have to pay a certain amount to get in, depending on your risk, and that's kind of like an insurance to your target. Say your target leaves, you get that 50k or whatever it is. It can be up to 500k, or I don't know what the max is, but I have good and bad things to say about the Crucible. Starting with the good, I think at least if you get matched up with a target that's kind of like your own risk, not like Gano or something like Jordan got.
Right.
It kind of brings back the old kind of style of PKing, because for one, the entire arena is multi.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can only attack one person. So chorus eye specs, they don't go through with like their overpowered 600 guaranteed on rune or whatever.
Right.
And it is protect. There's no protect item. You can't use it in there. So not a lot of people go in with chaotics, and it's kind of like an old style where people go in with whips and DDSs, and it's kind of awesome,
Yeah, definitely.
Like Jordan said, there is that 50k problem where when you go in, you have to leave every time you're losing 50k, and it's it kind of takes away from the fact of wanting to do it, because you go in there and well, I might get paired up with all these mages, and I really won't stand a chance and stuff like that. And I think that's it's a good and a bad concept, because it does make your opponent actually fight you, but if you're on the other end, you're kind of losing your money.
Right. And in my interpretation of the Crucible, I'm not a PKer, as everyone knows. I don't PK, or I never really PK for anything. And I tried it out, of course, because for what I do now on the game is whenever an update comes out, I try it no matter what it is. PKing, skilling, bossing, whatever, I try it out. And the Crucible is interesting. I mean, Bounty Hunter was okay back in the day. It had a little bit of a different concept than the Crucible does right now. It's got its own arena just like Bounty Hunter did. And what's cool about the Crucible is that it's kind of like what Alex said, is it's the old school kind of PKing, because you're not going to see many people with chaotics in there. I mean, obviously if someone has 120 dunge and they have a lot of tokens, they can risk chaotics and not care about it. But you lose everything on death. You can't pro item anything. And that is really cool that you pretty much old school style fight. I mean, I saw a lot of people in Rune. I used Torags myself when I went in there, because I'm not rich, so I didn't use Darox or anything. I just used Torags and a whip, and I went in there just trying to kill people. Now, what's a lot of bad feedback from it that people are saying is that people can use familiars in there, and you can use familiars in the wilderness, but it's not multi. So like Steel Titans, really, unless you're in the multi area of the wilderness, usually in Edgeville I'm referring to, is you can't use a Steel Titan in Edgeville because it's single combat, and you can have it out to make your combat 138, but you can't use it to actually aid you in combat. And what the Crucible allows you to do is pretty much overpower your opponent. Say if you have 99 summoning and he doesn't, you're pretty much guaranteed a win regardless of what he has. I mean, I was paired up with a couple of mages. I think I did the Crucible for about 2 hours consistently, and I, spent my 50k to get in, and I don't like that concept, because I just don't feel like you have to spend money to get into an arena to fight people, and possibly lose your money plus your loot. I mean, that's just a little bit overkill. And you do get a 500. You have to pay like 500k just to first go in the arena, so that's kind of weird as well. Just putting like a down payment on dying. I don't really know what the whole point of the down payment is. But you do lose money when you go in and out. and I was just using Torags and a whip and going in, and I had a Steel Titan. So I enjoyed it because being maxed and everything like that, I liked having, my Steel Titan help me in combat in single, other than, just not doing anything, rather. And it was actually interesting because, I fought a kid with a Steel Titan and Darox, and I actually killed him. I actually made 8 mil during the release of the Crucible, and in my eyes, that's a good update, because any update where I can play for 2 hours, make 8 mil, and unlock all the music tracks, it's a good update in my eyes. But a lot of people complained about it because I could understand. I'm not a PKer, so I really don't, understand every aspect of what's wrong with it. But for the most part, I know why people aren't happy, because, familiars kind of ruin the point of 1v1 battles and everything like that. So I understand that point. But as a max player, I just enjoyed, fighting like that, because that's how you would fight in, say, fight pits in a 1v1. And it's really interesting to just get the kind of battle where you can actually earn loot from the other player. So it was cool. I killed a Darok kid. I killed just 2 rune kids with whips. And it was cool. I mean, I didn't die at all, so I really enjoyed the update. But it's something that I just won't do anymore. That's the last time I'll do it. The day of the update, I'm not going to go back there, because I don't feel like PKing, or that's just something I don't do and I'm not interested in. But it wasn't a bad update at first. I know that people don't like it for certain reasons, and I probably will agree with those reasons if you present them to me. But I didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't think they did a really terrible job with this. I mean, I heard there was a glitch with that within the first 2 hours of the release, where someone was duping money.
Always a glitch.
Yeah, and there's usually always a glitch with the updates, but
yeah, of course.
I just heard there was a glitch with that, so that's unfair to people. I hope they reset their bank or something. Not reset their bank, but reset what they got from the Crucible before. Someone got, I think, 300 mil per hour people were getting, because you would just leave and come in and you were getting 500k each time. I saw a video about it, so that's pretty crazy. But I didn't think the Crucible was that bad, because, I mean, obviously I had a good experience with it. If I would have had a bad experience, I would have thought otherwise, probably. But it wasn't that bad in my eyes, and I think that they did a decent job. But once again, I'm not a PKer, so coming from just a general standpoint, I think they did a decent job. But once again, it's dead content to me now. It's not something that I'll be doing in the future, so whatever.
Yeah, I think Jagus did a really good job. Did a good job with it, because at least from what I saw, they made enough changes to enough differences to it, to the regular wild, that it's not killing off and making the old wild dead content,
Right.
Where you can still go into the other to the wilderness and fight players and not risk your claws or whatever,
and get PJ'd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to go get PJ, right? And I mean, you don't have to pay to go PK in the wild. There's always that.
Right.
And yeah, so I think they made enough differences with it, that if you prefer one or the other, and you want to go fight just one person that you're assigned or whatever, maybe it works out better for lower level players. I don't know. I'm not a lower level player.
Right.
But they did a good job with that. Anything else, Jordan?
Steel Titans are mean.
Yeah, they're not friendly to other players.
I don't know. They're fun. They're fun for me.
Yeah, I had a good time PKing with mine. It was actually pretty fun. But as what Alex was saying with the low level situation, is my friend actually has a pure that is in members, and he PK with it, and his level is, I think, 73, and that's pretty low level, I guess, for a pure. He's just kind of like a mid level pure, and he went into the Crucible, and his experience was completely different than what he expected. He expected to get targeted, because you're supposed to get targeted with someone your combat level, and I guess that there wasn't many peers in there, but he got paired against a level 103 kid and died immediately to 2 DDS specs. So his experience wasn't very good with that, and I really don't know from a pure standpoint if it's a good update for them, because I know you need 60 combat to get in. So if you're a low level pure 65 to 80, I don't think it's going to be a really good money maker or experience for you, because you get paired with higher people. So
yeah, level 60 versus level 100, that's a big difference.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how they would scale that. What they would choose level based.
Probably just they were both the bottom lowest and
closest.
Right.
Yeah.
They probably put it in. I would say I always refer to tiers. I don't know why, but I would say they put it in 2 tiers, where you get the higher level tier and then the lower level tier, and the lower level tier is probably from level 60 to level 110, and then the higher level tier is 111 to 38.
Old BH. Right.
Right. Exactly. So that's probably what they did, and that's probably why he didn't have a really good experience with it. But it varies for people. Obviously, some people had bad experiences with it, like Jordan didn't like it, and I had a good experience with it because I made some money off of it. But I think it all results down to we're not really going to do that anymore. It happened. It was fun for one day, fun for 2 hours for me.
And And the other thing is, it's turning into a whole bunch of mages who just sit there and they want you to leave so they can make the money
Right.
from.
I actually
Yeah,
heard it's like 10 mil an hour if you just sit
yeah,
there in
it's just
Gano with a staff of armor and a
bullshit.
steel titan. You just leave. I
And
mean,
you can't even. It's getting to the point where you can't even get like a legitimate target other than like somebody who's just want to sit there in like the big ass tank gear with the staff of light and like phoenix amulets and bolas and just run
right.
around. It's just ridiculous. And I mean, I had a friend who I had a friend who got a target like that, and he just sat there and waited for the Supreme Champion to get something. Oh, that's another thing. And we didn't even mention that.
Right.
Supreme Champion can come up in the middle of your fight, and like you can't even finish your fight because your target gets changed.
Right, right. And it was really weird. I actually had experience with both of those things where you said, the person is just sitting there and, Gano and camping. I had, I ran into a few mages as my targets when I was there, and I just left immediately because, that's what they
Yeah.
want you to do. But, what
Right.
else do you have a choice to? I'm not going to just die and let them get a free 1 mil. Here's 50K, whatever. And you don't think of it at the time that 50K is not a lot of money to you at that very
Uh-huh.
moment. But to him, he's making 50K every time someone leaves, and probably 10 people leave per 5 minutes just getting target wise, and
Right.
that's that adds up to a pretty good profit. And people, it's just pretty much being like a who could be the bigger bully kind of thing. And it's like a system where you just stand there, you look badass, and you're not gonna get attacked. They're just gonna leave because they don't want to fight someone like you.
Yeah, Lee.
Yep,
Do you remember
I got
when
bullied.
Do you remember when Fist of Gothics came out?
Yes.
And there would be those dicks who would just try to make the game last as long as possible. They go through
Yup.
the what are they, the little houses, and they portal
Yep.
portal
and they
around.
hop. Yep.
Oh my god, I hated those people.
Yeah.
That was so much fun being those people. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
I
But
got
yeah,
bullied.
that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Jordan got bullied.
They weren't nice to me.
Yeah.
do
No,
we need to tell the teacher?
Tell somebody.
that's what happened. But yeah, like the other thing to what Alex was saying is that the Supreme Champion is I experienced that too, and I left during that as well. I wasn't named the Supreme Champion because I only got like 2 kills during that
Right.
time period. But no, the Supreme Champion is crazy. There's like 10 Supreme Champions at one time, and it's all different level bases.
Mhm.
And they get these 3 weapons that are crazy overpowered. And, I left because I saw 2 different kinds of, spectrums of it. I saw a 138 who was completely owning with this magic staff special thing. I don't even know what happened, but I was getting hit for hundreds, and I wasn't even assigned any target. I was just running around getting hit for hundreds, so I just left immediately. But before I left, I got to see a level 77 Supreme Champion get killed by everyone. Like, I just saw him die immediately, and it was pretty funny. So, I really don't know the effect of the Supreme Champion yet. Obviously, it's too soon to really know what the full,
Right.
perfection of the champion use is, but we'll see that later on, and hopefully people will make some cool PKing videos with the Crucible, and we'll see that later on.
And the Supreme Champion is kind of cool in the fact that you can't die and you get these overpowered weapons, and if you do die to the Supreme Champion, you don't lose anything.
Right.
And that's kind of a cool concept, because then it turns the minigame into a safe minigame. And I know that's kind of weird, but
Yeah, it's different.
The only part where it becomes really annoying is just that, like, in the middle of your fight, it can change.
Right.
And, they do give you a bit of a warning, but if you're not finished with your fight, it's gonna be a little bit of an annoyance,
Right.
and whatnot.
So anyways, moving on, we are going to talk about the OG blog called Tradition and Challenge that RuneScape posted on the RuneScape homepage yesterday, and it states that it's the 3rd blog of the evolution of combat, and it was a really weird segment at first because when you start reading it says, "Hi all, this is my 3rd blog about the evolution of combat, and my hands are literally shaking while I write. The excitement here in the office surrounding the imminent beta launch can be felt in the air." So, that's cool that you're excited to know, but go to a doctor or get some mittens or something.
Right,
Your hands are
man?
shaking, and I don't know
It
if
must
you
be
got, like,
cold up there in London.
I don't know if you got like the Michael J. Fox syndrome or whatever that is called. I forget what it's, Parkinson's or something. I don't know if you have that, but you should get something checked out, because if you're writing and typing with like a tick in your hand, I don't see how that could really be effective. But anyways, he wrote a pretty good blog, and it pretty much explained a lot of things that we wanted to know. And something that really, really, really stood out was the combat level change. And I'm sure a lot of you have read it, and if you haven't, well, here you are for the first time. And they say that we are also changing the way that combat levels are calculated. We are scrapping the current 138 max design and replacing it with a calculation that's far simpler to understand. Now, originally, it was pretty difficult to understand, and to this day, I really don't know fully how you get the combat number you get after leveling up a certain skill. I know it's like 1 level in 3 stats, so say if you get 1 attack, 1 strength, and 1 defense level, you get a level in combat, but I really just, it's too confusing, and it really doesn't make that much sense. So, it says here that the new thing is going to be easy to understand, which means X plus defense level plus 2 equals your combat level, and X stands for your highest stat level from magic, range, attack, or strength. So that means, say if I'm 99 attack and I'm 99 defense, plus 2, which equals 200, and now that is the new max combat level. And that means I'm going to be transformed into 200 combat as well as other 138s will. And it's pretty crazy because even the people who are just 99 attack and defense are going to be the max combat level. And that's pretty, like, it really puts a perspective on things. Like, if I'm in the wilderness and I'm level 200 and I see another 200, he could be 99 attack, 1 strength, 99 defense, 40 HP, and whatever. And he's the same combat level as me, and I would destroy him. So I really don't know how it's balanced or fair in that kind of sense. But that is a good way to find out your combat level, and it is much easier. But to the fairness and to the perspective of it, I really don't understand. As well as they are removing prayer, summoning, and constitution levels from the combat level. So now level 3 skillers are going to be level 4 skillers because 1 plus 1 plus 2 equals 4. So you're not going to be level 3 anymore, you're going to be level 4 skiller, which rip to all of the peers who have level 3 in their name, or like skiller level 3 or something like that. So sorry that you're going to have to change your name to skiller level 4. But anyways, that makes level 4 skillers allowed to get summoning up and constitution and prayer and have still 4 combat. So it's a really big change that they're going to be putting into the game, and I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with this, and I wonder how people are going to react to this. I know a lot of people are like, what's the point? Like, why are we going to be 200? Why is someone with 99 attack and 99 defense and 1 everything else going to be the same combat as a max player? And that really doesn't make sense. So let's get into the discussion. Jordan, what do you take from this OG blog?
Well, I don't like the fact that they are excluding summoning and prayer. I know summoning is like kind of iffy on it, but prayer is a huge part.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so that's kind of a disappointment they aren't including it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And like HP. You said, I don't see a point of changing it. I guess it's to revamp, since they're doing that whole shenanigans.
Combat rework, yeah.
Which, I'll talk good about it, but I'm not on board. Like I said a long time ago, I'm not for this update.
Right.
And this is just another thing that is pointless, which they could be doing something entirely else, like working on the servers, making it better so we don't lag out
every 30 seconds.
They'd rather just play at work with their dicks out and.
Oh wow.
That's kind of mean. That's kind of mean. I mean, there's some women that work there.
Oh. Never mind. Going
And they say it's too complex, the current one, right? And I mean that's one of the oldest mechanics in the game, because as far as I know, they still use the original calculating system from back in the day.
Yeah.
With the addition of summoning, of course.
Right.
But they say right here, it says, while they do have clear and desirable effects, referring to summoning, prayer, and constitution, trying to represent in combat level calculations is complex and isn't really necessary.
Right.
And I feel like I can argue with that, because, I mean, is simplicity of calculation of your combat level, is that really more important than, the way it plays into the game?
Right.
Because the way it is now, basically, your attack and your strength, you add them up together, and that works as your combat level. But the way this is, if your attack and your strength aren't even, then there's no point in not having them even, right?
Right.
So, like, anybody who gets just 60 attack or just 70 attack to wear a whip, and then they wanna train their strength to hit the highest with a whip, they can't. There'd be no point in doing that, because they might as well get 99 attack.
Right.
For the
You'll be max combat regardless.
And what I thought when I first thought they were, or first realized they were doing the combat level change when they released that 139 spoiler.
Right.
I thought that they were changing it to where magic and range would affect your combat level as much as attack and strength, because the way it is now is attack and strength and magic affect all by +1.
Right.
Okay, and what I thought they would do is that magic and range would be +2, since attack and strength are 2 different skills, where magic and range only have 1 for their accuracy and their hits.
Right.
And the way they're doing it now is attack and strength are completely they're almost unrelated.
Right.
when there's only one system of combat in it, and I feel like that's flawed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something that at first there was a lot of rumors that
Mhm.
herb lore was going to be added to
Ooh,
the
no.
combat, and that was just a rumor. Obviously, it's not true. And I just heard combat's going to be increased because herb lore is going to be added, or Slayer is going to be added. I heard that one as well, but that's not true. Obviously, by here they're actually removing 3 of the skills from the combat thing, but your combat is
Yeah.
still increasing. Now, I don't feel a certain way about this because once again, I'm max. I don't care. I could care less if my combat level is 138, 200, or 5 billion, because regardless, I'm still the same stats, and it won't affect me because I'm not a pure. But anyone who has a Zerker pure, or
Mhm.
something that's, something, a PKing pure, if you're 99, there's no point to having a Zerker pure anymore, because regardless, you're the max combat level. Might as well just get 99 everything. So it really does affect, against whatever you're playing, whatever your style of play is, it really does affect what that is. So it doesn't affect me as much as it would someone else, but it is a serious change. And like Alex said before, that it's arguable that prayer, summoning, and constitution have a clear and desirable effect. But you can argue that because they're really helpful. And that, I mean, constitution is the one thing that I could see
Yeah.
definitely staying in the combat thing. But removing that, I don't know. I mean, maybe because the new life point boosting armors or something about that. But also prayer is probably one of the biggest things. I mean, summoning, yes, that's aid because it helps with skilling and helps with that. But prayer only helps with combat. It only deals with combat. There's nothing really prayer does besides help with combat. I mean, the only
Which is why it
It's
should be
always
included.
been combat, right?
which is why it should be included, because this is only for combat. You only use prayers to help you in combat. The only thing that doesn't help you in combat, I mean, only thing that helps you in combat but also helps you in something else is protect item if you're fighting a boss. That's the only thing that doesn't help you with fighting. And it's ridiculous that it's actually getting removed. And I'm actually kind of heated about prayer and constitution and summoning being removed from the thing instead of adding on. I mean, I don't want anything added to the combat thing, but taking away from it is kind of ridiculous because, why is prayer getting removed? That's the only thing it's good for, is combat. I mean, it really doesn't make sense in my eyes.
And I have a friend. She is 99 defense, 99 range and magic, but 80 attack and strength. And those are just because those are the skills that she decided to train. She's a skiller basically, and she struggles with training strength and attack, and yet still she's going to be the max combat level just because she managed to get magic and defense.
Right.
And I mean, seriously, you right now, at the way it is, you only need to get 2 combat 99s to be the max level, whereas now you need to get 7.
Right. Exactly.
2. I don't even get that. Like before, you couldn't even get all the melee ones and be max combat. It takes
Right.
years, but now, like, dude, within a month you can be level 200. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if that's targeted at new players. Like, oh, dude, I'm level 100. I just got 50 attack and 50 defense.
Right. Exactly.
Seriously.
It's probably a gimmick in my eyes, like you said. New players are like, "Oh yeah, level 100 finally," and then you get 99 attack and defense. You're like, "Yeah, level 200 on the max. Bring it on, everyone. I'm the strongest."
I'm gonna have some people come at me, man.
Right. I mean, I don't know if they want people to think that they're doing better in the game than they already are. Like, it's kind of like a false advertisement in my eyes. Like, oh, be the max combat, max combat level if you're 99 attack and 99 defense, or 99 defense and 99 magic. Choose your way of combat. But what they don't know is that everything else that they're not 99 in is significantly better than what they are. Like,
it is important to have. So I mean, you can't just disregard. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna train strength.
Right.
I'm already to level 200. What? I don't need strength.
Right, and the players that are joining, obviously, they want to get max combat faster, because nowadays in certain games you can get max level combat really easily. Like Diablo 3, you can get level 60 in 2 weeks or so if you play the game a lot. Skyrim, you can max out in 2 weeks or whatever. Max whatever. I don't really know the stuff in that. I don't play Skyrim, but I've people who beat it in 2 weeks. And World of Warcraft, you can beat it in like a month. You get max whenever level 85 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I guess they're trying to keep up with the longer leveling system. They're trying to make it shorter, because right now getting 99 attack, strength, defense, HP, range, mage, prayer, and summoning to get max combat is very tedious. It really is something that takes a while and a long time to drag out to get max combat, and that's something that a lot of people want to be in the game, and a lot of people take out of it is combat. So a lot of people want to be like, oh, I want to be the max combat, but 7 stats is way too long to get to 99. So making it to 2 definitely wants to attract the older players to come back and oh, now you can be max combat, have fun,
Yeah.
It's I want to see the take on it for staking.
Right.
Oh.
Because a max player you
Can
know, an
only
actual
benefit
max
me.
player is gonna fight somebody that's not actually maxed.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
boxer. Say if you have 99 attack and defense, and you're level 200, and you're boxing someone who's got maxed everything, you lose. You will lose.
So
That's it, plain
I
and
don't know
simple,
what's gonna
right?
happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely a different change, and they're gonna realize that once the beta hits,
Hmm.
because people are gonna be like, oh, let's try staking, and they're gonna be like, oh, well, I don't know what your stats are. I mean, I have to look on the high scores or on SwiftKit to see what you are, because if you're not the same stats as me, I'm not gonna duel you. So it's gonna be very difficult and something hard to grasp.
I definitely don't support this at all. Like of all the combat, I've been super excited about combat rework. Like everything they show, all the graphics, everything it looks beautiful. But man, it comes down to getting rid of 5 combat stats from the calculator. And I mean, yeah, it's a lot more it's a lot simpler. But I just don't see how that plays
I mean,
into
that
being more useful.
simplicity is solved by Tippett's calculator.
Right? Yeah.
Boom.
Right?
You just go to Tippet, combat calculator. You type in what you want, and bam, you find out your combat level. I mean, it's not that hard. But like I said, they just want to make something that's more broad. But something that really stuck out, something that really stuck out to me in this OG blog is that the action bars can actually be minimized and not affect your gameplay at all. And you can play without having to see those action bars, use the action bars. You don't have to use them at all. So that's really something that means a lot to me, because now I don't think this update's going to be as bad. Because if I could still play the game the way it is and not have to worry about using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or making
Right.
different things and pin them to taskbars, then great. Go ahead, do that for the new players, and I'll stay playing my old way. Even if it's not as good XP, I'm just going to play it my way because that's what I enjoy. So the fact that I can do that makes me a lot more excited for this update, because I don't feel it's going to be as bad now. Because once I heard that they're going to rework combat, I instantly thought of the worst. And I'm a big, no supporter of change. I don't like, change in the video games I play, and I think that the way the game is now is great. But the fact that it's not going to change really, and I can minimize the action bars and minimize all the new changes, great, perfect. That makes me a little bit more happy than I was before.
Yeah, and I don't mean to change the subject back, but I did have one more thing to say on the combat thing. And it seems like a big thing about the combat rework is balancing between the combat styles, right?
Right.
And I just don't see that it becoming balanced by doing the combat level change that they did.
No, not at all. And it
Yeah,
actually makes it more
in,
flawed.
in fact, I think it makes it a little bit worse, and they should probably touch up on that. And if you're listening, Jagex, if you're listening, you should probably consider. I mean, there's got to be a simpler way and still incorporate the other skills
Right.
to where you can have 60 attack and 70 magic, and that still affect your combat level.
Right. I mean, I still think Mage, regardless of what they do, I feel like Mage is still going to be shit. Regardless, if they make everything balanced, I still think Mage
And
is going to suck.
you know what? No, magic is good if you use the right spells. Right now, okay, you go in there with Arma Storm and you fight someone in melee gear, you're wearing magic gear, you're gonna win. Just people are gonna bitch at you. That's how it is. I mean,
Right.
magic is not inferior right now.
Oh no, absolutely not.
No,
Staff and
and
Armor really balanced it up.
yeah, and the Ganodermic, everything, all they have the right gear, they have the right stuff. Right now, magic and melee, it's the players.
Right.
The magic owns melee right now. If you're using the right spells, I mean, granted, there's only like a few spells that it does own in, but
Right.
I mean, if you're using the right spells and the way the combat triangle is supposed to work, magic owns melee. It's just that nobody likes to admit that, and they call the mages sad. Like if you go in, you're not gonna want to fight a polypore.
Right. It's
Like
mainly because of farcasters, and back in the day, if you farcasted, people would just teleport or put on D'hide and you wouldn't
Right.
get hit anymore. And now it's kind of fixed, but I still think Mage is just gonna suck. I mean, that's just my
Yeah.
opinion. Obviously, people can argue that Mage is probably the best right now, and with Staff of
Mhm.
Armor, it's better than melee and takes on melee and range. It's easy, but whatever. I mean, I still think Mage personally is gonna suck, and I think that range
Right.
is gonna get a little boost because right now they added the criminal bolts for PKing, they added the royal crossbow, they added all this other stuff, and they're mainly going towards range updates and range gear and stuff like that. They added the royal D'hide, they added all this other stuff, and I feel like with the combat rework, armor is gonna be stronger and better. I feel like a lot of things are gonna have better effects, and I just feel like range is gonna take over. So
Which is kind of like spiked my interest. All these armors are getting revamped,
Mhm.
so why is the next armors crashing?
right,
It's still going to be the best.
Right,
Yeah.
which brings us on to what they said in the OG vlog, which actually ties into what we said last podcast. Is about don't panic, don't sell your items, don't go crazy. But there's a section right here at the end that says what will happen to the price of my items, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, we are very likely to be modifying effects, stats, special abilities, etc. during the beta, so the price of items in the live game will most likely fluctuate greatly and erratically. Yes, we know that. Thanks, Jagex. Obviously the prices are going to go haywire because you don't even know what effects you're putting on shit yet.
Right.
So that's why everyone's, selling their stuff, because they don't know if Torva's life point boost is going to be, better. I mean, obviously it's going to be the best. It's still the best armor in the game, guys. Relax. It's not.
Yeah.
They're changing some of the effects and some of the stuff on weapons. They're changing some of the armors to give more life point boost.
Mhm.
But the best armor is not going to go from the best armor to some type of shit just because they're making combat rework. Okay, relax. Your shit's going to be great.
It's not, let's make next armor's a piece of shit and have mithril armor better.
Right.
It's not that.
Right.
Yeah. Let me go buy out Myth real quick because I'm pretty sure that's gonna it's gonna be the best, obviously.
Let me go buy 30 sets of Myth. I guarantee you after this podcast, Myth sets have been bought out.
Oh, with that bot nuke too, we can buy adamant and they won't be able to make the plate body.
Right. Perfect. We're on to the new shit.
Wait, okay, hold on.
But anyways, that's what really the OG blog sparked our interest. That's the one main part of it, is the changing of the combat level. I like the fact where they said that the action bar can be minimized, and that doesn't affect, your gameplay as much. And, they're trying to keep everything in control and in balance, trying to tell people that the prices of items are going to fluctuate greatly and erratically, which everyone knows already.
Yeah.
And
are
I just
we
think
going to discuss the adrenaline bars at all?
well, we don't know a lot, but they did release some pictures. I'll put them on the screen right now of what they put out. And
I'm pretty sure about like the special recovs that we've been, like everybody's been like, oh yeah, what's gonna happen to special recovs? And I mean, we can make some predictions about that, but you never know what's gonna happen.
Right, either more effect, make the effects less cost, or they might add adrenaline to you, or
it's gonna give you a 25% boost, but it's gonna have a longer cooldown time.
Oh, okay, so that's what that's gonna do.
Yes, they did state
the
that.
special recovers.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so cool. So we know that. I really didn't even know that. That's good that you stated that because I wasn't very sure of that. And that's a pretty cool effect, and I see that working out to people's advantages.
And I like the adrenaline, the idea with all the special attacks, and like we discussed last week, I'm really seeing something going with this and making it combat more fun and whatnot.
Right, and I also like the fact that it'll help with skilling, not just with combat. You can put some skilling stuff on the bars. But I mean, a lot of people have already known about this adrenaline bars. They've seen the pictures. They heard about it from, regardless of other podcasts or other, reviews of it. But it's going to be similar to all the other games, and it's cool that we're going to have different kinds of bars to, I guess, test other things out with and put the right combinations of stuff on to make combat, the way you want to fight, the way your tactics are going to be used, or the way your skilling is going to be used.
And the fact that tactics even come into play, because in the current game it's
not
so
right. You poke and run, and that's a pretty cool concept. I think everyone likes poking and running. That's why they don't want any change.
And that's where rushes were born.
Exactly. So that's pretty much all we got from the OG blog and the adrenaline bars. Is that it's going to be a cool kind of thing. It's a less panic on my meter, to be honest. It lowered, with this OG blog, it lowered my panic level, and it gave me more, guarantee on some things, such as the combats. People saying, oh, we're going to be level 1,000. Oh, we're going to be level 10. Oh, it put a standard to that. It told me that the max combat is going to be level 200, so I'm guaranteed level 200. And it's cool that they gave us some insight on some stuff and actually lowered my panic level, because the fact that I can minimize those bars really makes me happy.
Yeah, and so I really do hope they... I really do hope they reconsider that combat.
Yeah.
Is poking and running no longer existing? Is that why you're not panicking?
No, it's just going to be less of a XP gain. If you are poking and running, just poking.
You'll probably get the same XP that you get now.
Right, you'll probably get the same, but if you actually get your adrenaline
attention
up and you get more XP and you pay attention and you're using different attacks and different specials or different effects, then you'll probably get more XP over time and more XP guaranteed than what you are now. Because if you just probably play right now, it's probably going to be the same XP without if you're just attacking things like you do right now.
And the only thing they've said that they're changing the XP rate on is the rate of Slayer.
Right, and also but also they said that you can no longer gain XP from things that are within 30 levels of you. So Pures can't, people level, let's just say, if you're level 50 and rock crabs are level 13, you can't gain XP from training at rock crabs. So people are going to it encourages people to train at different places instead of just camping at one place to get 99 everything. So like people aren't going to gain a lot of XP from bandits because they can't camp there anymore, because at a certain level you're not going to gain XP from them, or as good XP.
Uh-huh.
So it really, I like that concept because it really does make you have to move around more and experience the game a little bit more instead of just camping at one place. Obviously, it kind of destroys it because the fact of camping is a big part, because some people just want to get a 99 all at one place and not have to move very much. But it's going to bring out a lot of new guides and a lot of new ways to train combat, because it's going to be like level 10, you're going to train at rock crabs until level 20, then you're going to train at yaks, and then you're going to train at moss giants, and then, it's going to be really detailed on how to get your skills up the fastest.
It kind of redefines the word experience, if you ask me, eh?
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, I guess it's good because it's getting people off their ass. And I think deep down Jagex is doing that for bots.
Oh, absolutely. Like the yak bots are all there at, whatever level they are, 110, and they're killing level 40 yaks, or I don't even know what level they are. I'm just saying that out loud.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Bots.
So I don't think that's for us. I think that's for the bots.
Right. I think that's more to keep, but it is affecting us to an extent, because if you're level 110 going for 99 strength and you're at bandits, you're not going to gain as much XP, so it's a big factor into other people's business.
I really wish that the XP didn't go down though, but only up.
Right. I don't
Like
think
I think maybe it should start lower and then
gradually increase.
Yeah, and then like since your levels are going up and whatnot, you should be able to get faster XP from training at different places.
Right. I mean, nothing is guaranteed right now. This is just what they're telling us, and anything is subject to change. It's just the beta.
Even within the course of the beta, I've said this a million times. I mean, they will be making changes.
Right. They will be changing stuff. Nothing is definite. This is just a beta. They will even be changing things during the beta. So you're not even going to have a straight beta to play. One day you might have a godly AGS spec, and then the next day they fixed it. And, who knows what's going to happen. And they're going to change everything and make anything that is wrong trying to be right. So we'll see how everything goes. Like we said, we don't know really what's in store, but they're telling us some insights. So I really do appreciate that, because outside of all this, not looking at the actual, post, but it's really nice that they're actually posting and letting us know about this. They're really interacting with their players and everything more often, even on Twitter. I give them major credit, because they're really reaching out to their fans, and someone gets a 99 and they retweet it and they message them back and they say grats or great job, and they're giving us more insight on their updates, and they're actually making us more involved.
Behind the scenes videos as well, yeah.
Right, they're making us more involved. So I really enjoy that they're doing that for us players, and that really makes a company, care about us a little bit more, and it makes you feel that you're a little bit more wanted and, needed, because they're doing all of this stuff.
And I remember back in the day, because I've been playing since like 2004.
Right.
If you ever saw a mod that was rarer than anything you can ever get.
Right.
You can see Zazella 3 times before that.
Right.
I mean, now you just simply call and then boom, a mod's right there.
Yep.
They're definitely more, like you said, interactive with the players.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't, back in the day when you saw a mod, you would hop to that world just to take a picture of him or ask him questions.
Right? Yeah.
Or ask him questions or anything. And then, now I'm friends with like 5 mods, and I talk to them daily, and they're, very friendly, and they're nice people, and they're friends of mine now. So it's really cool that I can interact with them on that kind of level. So besides all that, they're doing a good job with player interaction. I give them a giant thumbs up for that. Thank you for that. But anyways, moving on, we have touched on the giant topics of the Crucible and then the OG blog with the combat rework. And now we're going to move on to the Twitter responses, because that is what we do. First one up, we've got at Lezolita, which I think that's right. Lezolita or Lezolita or Lizolita. I don't even know. You could put any spell. Lizolita.
I like it.
We got loving the podcast. I especially liked what you guys said about the skill capes and comp capes. Keep up the great vids, guys. Heart. Thank you, man. Heart, you too. Thanks for tuning in every week, I hope. And
thanks, brah.
I'm glad you liked what we said about that stuff.
Yeah, man. Skill capes, equal respect.
Yup. Next we have at RS_problems, and he said, entertaining as usual. I disagree with some things you said, but everyone has an opinion. Can't wait for the next one. X Revenge. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it, because regardless of what we said or anything you didn't disagree with, you listened to the whole thing, and you took the time to agree with some things and disagree with some things. And obviously everyone is entitled to their opinion, like you said, and we take some things, everything we say isn't definite or correct 100% of the time, guys. Every time, someone says a mistake, don't point it out to them. Obviously everyone makes mistakes, and everyone points out something or is not 100% sure. I mean, when we talk about these updates, we're not guaranteed about 100%. We review them a day or two after the update. Something can change. They could, fix something. We don't know everything about the thing upon, whatever. No one is 100% sure of anything until it's been out for at least like a week or a month. So just thank you for, listening to us and realizing that we're trying our best, and we're trying to give you information or an insight that you wouldn't have had in the first place. And obviously, you don't have to agree with everything we say, but at least you listen to it, and we really respect that. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and even with
and
opinions. Oh, and even with opinions like ours, even within the podcast, ours vary greatly. Like I'm pretty sure Lee is like not for the combat update. I'm like totally all for it, and I don't even know if Jordan cares. You just want it for Slayer XP, don't you?
if it makes Slayer faster, but as Lee was saying, like even though he did disagree with us, he's still a viewer of our podcast, and that's all we need. Like, thanks.
Right,
Like
loyalty. Thank you very
yeah.
much.
I mean, we say stupid shit, and we know we're not right because half the time, honestly, we're winging this.
Yeah, dude. Total
Right.
And
improv.
like we review it and everything, but we are not Jagex. We don't know every detail about it.
Right. All we
And
are is a couple of players, and we take what we know and our knowledge from stuff that we know and prior updates and our personal experiences, and we share them with you. We're not trying to
Yeah.
give you 100% guaranteed right responses, but we try to lead you in the right track and give you the information you need to think about stuff or be happy about some things or, tell you something that you maybe didn't know. The next one, we have the Storm 0X, and he said, really enjoy your podcast. Thanks for making Barrows funner and bearable. No problem, dude. Hope you got some good loot while listening.
DH legs.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Next,
well,
next we got at Gauge A2, sure. And he said, I enjoy listening to these podcasts. It gives me something to listen to while doing Slayer and working on my 99 attack. Well, best of luck on your goal, man. I hope you get it soon.
Hope it doesn't get
Hey.
slowed down by the combat update.
represent that skill cape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wear
dude.
it and be proud of it. Next, we've got at Andrew Lamba, and he said, hey man, I'm an old friend of Alex, Strength Tank 007 here, and I would like to know, do you ever think RS will come to an end? Thank you.
Well, man, I haven't talked to this guy in legitimately since, well, definitely way before free trade came back. Man. Yeah, man, times have changed since he's played, and as far as RS dying, it could go on for a very long time. I mean, as long as they keep making changes to it, I think the point where RS dies is when Jagex stops updating, weekly and whatnot, and the company is still well within the game, and I
Yep.
think the day that RS dies is when they give up on the game and just let it run,
Yep.
and time passes with that. So I mean, I'm sure that within whatever amount of years that will occur, that's probably inevitable. And who's to say it's 10, 15, or whatever? Who knows how long it'll be? But
Right.
I'm sure that that'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
That's funny because about 5 years ago, I think it was, they
Uh-huh.
were talking about making Mechscape, which is
Right.
an adult
Oh,
version
right.
of RuneScape.
With like spaceships and fucking Earth Warriors and shit.
Yeah.
So that's when I thought RuneScape was gonna end, and that was 5 years ago. And now that they like said that, all right, well, in the next 3 years we're gonna slow down on RuneScape, but actually they picked up on RuneScape.
Yep, and they actually scrapped Mechscape and they scrapped the other 8 realms thing because they didn't want it to. It wasn't up to their pars. So.
Right.
So I think RuneScape's gonna be around for a good
Oh,
time.
and also, Andy, if you're watching this, you need to Skype me because I haven't talked to you in like 3 years.
So my point in that is, if RuneScape's gonna end anytime soon, I don't think so. To be honest, I hope not because my kids have to play this game because I played this game. They have to play it and they have to get
Right, dude.
really good at it, and then eventually, give me some tips and pointers, and maybe they'll make videos for you guys to
Like
enjoy.
my
So
dad. Oh my god.
I sure hope. But a little funny thing right here I gotta share with you guys is that before
God.
this podcast, Alex's dad walked in, and Alex's dad plays RuneScape. If you guys didn't know, and Alex was mining his flasks for the day. And he's mining them, and his dad gave him a tip that Alex didn't even know, that if you mine a star before you do the flasks, you get a mining boost, and you get about 5 to 15 more flasks than you normally would. And Alex was like, oh, I didn't know that. And it was pretty funny to just listen to a dad give advice to his son about a game that he plays.
All my
Yeah,
dad
that's
says is, I'm not paying for RuneScape.
My
dad's like,
dad just
I got.
tends to agree with everything I get, and it gives me, I guess the support I need, and I go, hey dad, I got the completion escape. Hey, great job, buddy. That's that's what I get. So that's great.
My dad's like, so you got a job yet?
Yeah, I
dad's like,
don't think Jordan's dad will be playing RuneScape anytime soon.
the GDS is buying the GE yet?
But anyways, I don't think RuneScape's gonna come to an end anytime soon. Like Jordan pointed out, all of the other things, Mechscape and that stuff failed, but RuneScape has always been strong, and it's always had a lot of players. Obviously, they're approaching 200 million, which half are probably bots or ad spammers. So who knows about that? But I mean, it is very strong after however many years it's been out, and a lot of people are continuing to play it, and especially with this combat rework, I know a lot of people are coming back to the game. So they're doing a good job with that, and they really are going to last for a while. I mean, it really ends when they want it to end.
Mm-hmm.
And the last Twitter thing we've got is, hey, I love your podcast. It's from @FRWizard, which Wizard spelled with an O. I don't know why. Maybe you can enlighten us on that. Hey, I love your podcast. One question I have is, what is the fastest and best 99 to get? Now, before we get into this debate, fastest and best and like most efficient and stuff and all, most cost efficient, those all don't tie in together. You either get fast XP for a high cost or you get slow XP for a low cost. And that's always how it's going to be, and you can't change that. But my, personal belief is that the fastest and best, worth the best, most money, and the fastest to possibly get to 99 is prayer. And that's because prayer helps you with all forms of combat. It really elevates your combat to be better than what it is. It, helps you with different things. It helps you fight things in PvP, helps you fight with PvM, and it is the fastest because you can go from 1 to 99 in a day using Frost Dragon Bones on a gilded altar. So if you have the funds, that is definitely the fastest, and I would say the best. But obviously, you can go in any way with this. What do you guys think?
I'd say, first off, I'd just like to say any combat 99, it's relatively fast. Like if you go about it, and you probably won't even notice you're training it because sometimes it can really be fun to just go and get some experience in the skill. But as far as I'd say, combat would be really useful. But magic by itself is a really fast one to train, and it's quite useful if you get vengeance and barrage and all these teleports and whatnot. And I'd say it's a pretty useful skill to just elevate your gameplay up by getting magic to 99.
Okay.
Me? That's like, it's kind of what Lee said. It deals with money. Like, say you're level 3 and you have 1 bill cash stack just sitting there to play with.
Right.
Definitely prayer, because it's like somewhere between, was it 600k XP an hour?
Oh, you can get ridiculous amounts of XP per hour. Yeah.
And even if you have runners.
Yeah,
and
people
you
are running
might
you
as
the
well
bones.
just get 200 mil.
Yep.
So I guess prayer.
So we have 2 prayers and magic or any combat stat. So I mean, really it comes down to what you have money-wise and what you really want to invest your time in. Obviously, if you have a lot of money, anything can become fast, and except for non-viable skills, of course.
This really goes back to what we said last week. I mean, when you say best, it could mean, what's going to be best for you? What are you going to really enjoy and have? And, what's going to be the best 99
Right, how do
for
you play the game? If you're a skiller, something like maybe
anything that we just said was completely irrelevant.
Right. If you're a skiller, maybe farming might be the most important because it makes you the most profit per hour.
Again, that's not fast.
Right, it's not fast, but I mean, just saying, like, in general, that might be the most important skill to you or best for you to get. And it's different depending on how you play the game. So it really does matter on that term, but I hope we answered your question, and hopefully you got an insight on that. But anyways, that is all for the Twitter stuff. Thank you so much for sending in your Twitter responses. We have a lot of people tweeting at us now, and we really appreciate it. We always want new people to feature on the podcast, and we appreciate all of your tweets to us. We read them all, we retweet them, and we answer you guys whenever we can. And hopefully we answer your questions during the podcast. So remember to follow us on Twitter at Trifecta Podcast, and remember to send in your tweets to us so that we can feature them on the podcast next week. So anyways, with that being said, we're going to move on to the topic of the week, which we've got a really, really good topic of the week. And I'm really excited to actually say this topic of the week. It's by KanFilmProductions, and the topic of the week is, what do you feel of the bonuses the new players get, such as 14 days of membership, Dwarven Army Axes, etc. Also, I am playing through RuneScape again to see what it is like as a noob in the new age of RuneScape. Do you think the new generation is better, worse, or the same? And I'm going to let Jordan start this one off, but go ahead.
Where's my free membership?
Yeah, right? Can I have 14 days free, please? Where's my 14 days?
I've been paying this game for 8 years, and what do I get? I get canceled membership, and I lose my loyalty XP, my points. That's what I get. Right. I think it's unfair.
Is it better? Yes, it is. They get so much more benefits.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, because we don't get refunded the amount of time it took us to train our skills,
Yeah. I mean, my opinion on this particular topic of the week is that it's really good. First of all, let me say that this is a great topic that you bring up and let us discuss. This is a great discussing topic, and what I feel about this is the new bonuses player get, I mean, it happens. Obviously, when you go over time, they didn't need really to push something on people to start playing the game, like as you getting free stuff. That's why back in the day when you started playing, you got your 25 GP or 50 GP, you got a pot, a bucket, a piece of bread, a sword, and a bow, and a few runes, and go ahead, fuck around, have fun. And that's what you really got. But nowadays, to play a game, you really need a motivation or something to push you or want to play the game. Like, oh, when I start playing, I can test the best thing, members, and it makes people want to buy members. So what they're doing is really a gimmick. I usually say it is a gimmick. Anything that RuneScape does is a gimmick to get new players to play. But it really is. I mean, the 14 days of membership is to show them how much better membership is. Because once that 14-day membership ends,
You're never
going to
go
back to free to play, and they're going to be like, I have to go back. How do I get to Birth Rope? It's not even a town anymore. Like I can't get in there. Please let me get members. And then they get members and they start playing it again because they enjoy what it is like to be a member. And I would too. I mean, if I was at free to play, I'd hate this game. Absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
So
the game's so limited.
Right, exactly. You can only do so much in free to play. So it really is something that's changing. It really changes over time. It's something that you can't really say, oh, I want 14 days of membership, because people need that boost now to play this game, because there's a lot of other competitions such as Diablo 3, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, whatever else. And there is so many games that they can play, but to make them choose RuneScape, what are we going to give them? So that's why they have the 14 days of membership. That's why they have Dwarven Army Axe, the Wicked Hood. They do all this stuff for people to want to play. And I honestly think that's really good for the new players.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks because we didn't get those kind of benefits, but we get them anyway. We got the Dwarven Army Axe, we got the Wicked Hood. We don't get the free membership, but it happens. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it really is cool that they're doing that for new players. It really makes them want to get more people to play and really start playing the game. And it's cool because you want to expand the community as much as you can. And my take on it is, I think it's worse. And I'm saying that not because I'm jealous of the new age or anything like that. I'm saying it's worse because they're getting too spoon-fed. They're not really learning the game as much as they used to. Even the tutorial, now it's just running around doing tasks and getting a baby troll pet. They're not really learning how to play RuneScape. Back in the tutorial, I mean, when the first time I did the tutorial, I was lost for about 2 days. It took me about 3 days to beat the tutorial, my first time ever on my account, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
Through it. My friend had to take me through it, and he was like, "Dude, are you done yet? Jesus Christ, hurry up!"
I'm not ashamed to say that because I didn't know what I was doing. It was a brand new game to me, and I was following the instructions. It took me like 3 days to beat the tutorial, and it actually taught me how to fish. Like, take your net and cast it at a place that says net, and then cut a tree and light it, and then you can use a shrimp on the log to make a cook shrimp to heal you. And it really did teach you just the very basics of the game. And that's why I made my Let's Play RuneScape thing, just to teach people nowadays how to actually play the game, other than just going into the game and getting tasks done and then just being in Birth Rope and doing whatever the fuck you want and have no idea what's going on. So I really think they're at a disadvantage. They do get all this free stuff and this cool stuff and these cool looking things and loyalty shop and all this other stuff, but they are not getting that experience you got when you first joined the game back in the day and went through Tutorial Island and actually learned the game and learned how to play. So that's my opinion on it. I think it's worse because they're just not learning what they used to.
Ooh, another thing, whenever you do that Birth Rope tutorial or whatever, you don't even, like, on the old days when you'd make an account and whatever on the Tutorial Island, you'd see, like, a whole bunch of other players.
Right.
You couldn't talk to them yet, granted, but...
Right.
But you'd see like all these other players, and I mean I've been to Birth Rope nowadays, and you don't see hardly anybody, and I think that's a little discouraging because to have the tutorial in such a dead place.
Right, and even when you're playing the game, I mean through the tutorial, it's not, you can't see anyone when you're fighting like the troll. It's a one-way kind of thing. Like you can only see yourself playing, and you don't know that anyone else is out there with you starting, and you really don't get to meet new starting players. So I really don't know how it really affects the new age like that, but it's different.
Yeah, Birth Rope is no Lumbridge, man.
Yeah, and I guess as Lee was saying, it was definitely a negative because he was talking about he spent 3 days on tutorial. I couldn't figure out how to turn off the freaking music. So I'm just sitting here blaring medieval times at me, and I'm just a kid. Like I didn't even know my computer had sound.
What's funny?
Oh, I couldn't figure out how to move, dude. I was sitting there with the arrow keys.
What's funny about that is that was actually one full day of me trying to find out how to turn off the music or turn off the music. That's the funny part about you saying that. It's because actually I took one full day on trying to figure out what the hell was fucking going on. Like they're like, oh, go to your music tab and turn on the music, and I was like, what?
It is a music tab. I know. No, I think it's like one of the first things that many people did. I didn't because I don't know. It has this nostalgia to me now, and I'm so glad that I didn't. And I played with it, with all the old songs, and now when I hear them, it brings back those memories and whatnot. And that's one thing that I do love about the game is it does have so many of those things. You can go back to a place and you look at it and you're like, oh, I remember I trained here and got 12 defense.
Right. So that's what we have to say about the topic of the week. That I think that overall we all think that it's a little bit worse than what it is. It's not the same. It's never going to be the same. Just like the community, it's not going to be the same. And it can't change. It's just going to keep changing over time because as time goes, things change and they need new ways to get players to play. So I think they're at a disadvantage, but I'm glad that they get all these perks to play the game because I want new players just as much as anyone else because I was at that point at one point, being a new player just as everyone else was, and it really is a great experience to actually start a game and actually get hooked to it and love the game and actually fall in love with what you play. So that being said, that is the topic of the week. Thank you for sending that in. Don't forget to comment below on this podcast what you want us to discuss for the next topic of the week, whether it's a question, whether it's advice you want us to give you, anything like that. Go ahead and comment it below and let us know. So thank you for that. I have two things to say before we go. First of all, shout out to Mr. Mob, and he got his completionist cape today. He's a friend of all of ours, so congratulations on your comp cape.
Matt.
Way to go, and it's a big accomplishment. I know Alex and Jordan will be joining you someday, and we'll be at their parties, so I'm glad you got that. Congratulations, buddy. And second off, I would like to say subscribe to Jordan. He's very close to 100 subscribers, so go support him. He's at like 80-something. Go to his channel. It's in the description. Every week it's in the description, so go check out his channel. He's making videos every week now, and he needs some support. So go and get him to 100 subscribers. Blast him up there. And that is all for this week.
Blast his Bojigga.
Blast his Bojigga up to 100. I don't know what really that meant, but it sounded pretty convincing, didn't it? So go subscribe to him. Go subscribe to Alex, and just stay subscribed to me. I hope I'm not doing anything to make you mad or want you to like take a pitchfork and shove it up my. Anyway, so we're gonna go and we're gonna wrap this up. We will see you guys next Thursday. Talk to you later, and have a great day, everyone.
Peace out, guys.